They grew up to 20 feet in length and could weigh as much as a ton. That fish coexisted with Dunkleosteus, and it lived long before the dinosaurs did. But for the next couple of minutes, let's imagine a speculative timeline where the old Dunkera didn't go extinct when it did. What would the consequences have been? The Dunkleosteus may be extinct, but it still has an intimidating presence that can't be denied. This prehistoric creature existed roughly 350 million years ago. While it's unlikely that you're ever going to encounter one of these ancient beasts, let's take a brief look back at just how formidable it was. As a fossil, we should envision that thing truly swimming around in the water. They could grow up to 30 feet and weigh up to 4.5 tons. Like current apex predators, this fish could open and close its jaws with incredible speed and had an enormous bite force of 1,600 psi. That's what they mean when they say firm. It appears to have been really fruitful, as these fossils have appeared in altogether sorts of spots, including North America, Poland, Belgium, and Morocco. This was truly the most boss hunter of those far-off times, and it sported a colossal heavily armored head with hard plates. These plates formed into points at the front of the mouth, which acted like teeth and would continue to grow as the fish aged. This meant it could handle greater and greater prey. Well, before humans came to claim dominion over the world, there were animals that no longer exist today. For example, the Dunkleosteus was around during dinosaur times, and this marked an early stage in animal life when they were venturing out from the waters. Dunkleosteus were the biggest, meanest hunters of the ocean. Even the present-day shark couldn't rival such a fish. Nicknamed the Dunk, they were alive around quite a while back. They were the largest and perhaps the last armored predators, a group of fish. These kinds of fish had hard plates that covered their entire skulls, and the Dunkleosteus was capable of growing to 6 meters in full body length. The name was a distinction of vertebrate scientist David Dunkle. This fish was built like a hefty submarine, and thus became the most brutal animal of its time. The main thing that kept the rest of the fish safe is simply this: the animal didn't have teeth. It only had plates on the upper and lower jaw, which might have been used as teeth. In all, its violence was not compromised. That's because the Dunkleosteus could swallow down its prey with just one swallow. One of the most interesting features about this fish is its biting force. Research done on the biting of Dunkleosteus revealed that it could bite a ton of fish with just one chomp. In fact, it was determined that this fish had a much stronger biting force compared to that of a crocodile. Research done on this fish found that as these fish grew up, their mouths changed. The jaws of this fish extended continuously, while the teeth at the front grew sturdier. That means that the jaws of an adult Dunkleosteus were a bit slower but packed more power compared to that of a young Dunkleosteus. This research also revealed that while the young were feeding on softer and smaller prey, the adult could eat anything much other heavily armored predators, which also display continuous change in their stunning and change around their meal from small fish to taking larger marine creatures. The Dunkleosteus occurred around the same time as the incredible white's continuous dietary change. These fish were bold, envisioning all that energy within their indestructible skin. The only other fish capable of inflicting some sort of agony on the Dunkleosteus were other Dunkleosteus. Further assessment on the fossils of these animals showed that bites from other Dunkleosteus were rarely fatal. They had to bite each other at the same point severally for the skin to break. These imprints were often found near joints or weak areas in their armor. How could another Dunkleosteus attack its own? Well, the obvious answer would be due to food, or perhaps these fish were just barbarians. However, the bite marks could also mean that these fish were cutthroat. They continuously had battles for territory and mates. Growing up in the same area as early versions of sharks would not have been easy for the Dunkleosteus. But once the young Tonka came to adulthood, fish would have been relentless. They would have been at the top of the natural pecking order, and the only other fish that could have stopped them would be another, larger Dunkleosteus. The Dunkleosteus had a dietary arrangement primarily comprised of scavengers fishing around the seabed. That's because this fish was built like a military submarine, not quick enough to catch small fish. Therefore, the only way to survive an assault from this hunter was if you were quick enough. Luckily, its adapted mouth parts and serious areas of strength were enough to slice through the chitinous cells of scavengers. In terms of appearance, the Dunkleosteus was constructed like any other standard fish with an eel-like tail. The shape of its head gave this animal a distinctive, shark-like appearance. The top of the Dunkleosteus was fully armored, except for its eyes. It was streamlined and had a fascinating reality. It used its teeth to crunch through stones and oil hubs. In conclusion, you've now met the hunter that frightened even the earliest sharks. Just imagine the flawless force of the Dunkleosteus. Long ago, during the Late Devonian period, they lived alongside a colossal species of ruthless fish. They grew up to 20 feet in length and could weigh as much as a ton. That fish coexisted with Dunkleosteus, and it lived long before the dinosaurs did. This is where I remind you to smash the thumbs up button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Make sure to leave us a comment with your questions. I appreciate your interest in this video and your appreciation for wildlife. Thank you for watching.